Ford CEO Jim Farley, thank you very much for speaking to Bloomberg. It's a historic day, a big day for Ford, right? But this is complicated. So how do you manage the complexity internally with two separate P&L statements? How is this going to work?
Well, in our auto business, we actually have three. We have Ford Pro, which is distribution and service, doesn't create vehicles for our commercial customers, but distributes those and sells services on the top. And then we now have, as you said, Ford Blue, our ICE business, and Model E, our BEV business. Look, we can't compete with the very best of the ICE or the BEV world by working on battery electrics from 9 and 10 in the morning. We have to be focused. This announcement is all about focus and capability. We can't run the car company like we used to. We have to have more focus against the old and the new players.
This is a big commitment, right? You're raising EV spending to $50 billion. This is some dartboard math, but it seems to be a simple additional $20 billion. Where does that money go? What are the priorities for spending?
We just raised our volume essentially 1 million units. So we're going to get to 2 million vehicles, capacitized 2 million battery electric vehicles by 2026. So with that comes lots of capital for battery plants, lots of capital for the new vehicles and the platforms, lots of capital for tooling in the plants, and lots of capital to secure the raw materials we need for those batteries. You know, when this technology change happens, like it did for cell phones in the 2000s, the supply chain is actually as important as the vehicles themselves. And a lot of that capital is to create the products, industrialize them, but secure the direct sourcing of the EV components and raw materials.
Can we talk a little bit about where that capital comes from? You considered carefully a spin-off of the EV business, but decided against it. So what mechanisms will you use to find value for the EV business, to raise capital at a reasonable cost?
Great question. So the most important thing is our core ICE automotive business. It's very profitable. We made over $10 billion last year, but it needs to be a lot more profitable. We think we're going to have to take about $3 billion out of our structural costs to make that business fully competitive on a return basis. Some of that will be quality. A lot of it will be just waste in the system. And we can't stop there. We have to grow too. And that's why we're committing to 2 million vehicles on the battery electric side. The last thing is we have to get our bill of material down for our EVs. We already got about $2,000 out of the Mach-E. We've just been working on it for about 8 weeks. There's a lot of opportunity to continue to get the bill of material costs down for EVs, and that's going to help contribute to that more profitable business. And we could use that profits and cash flow to reinvest in growth.
You have an opportunity to get smart with this, right? Could we see a spin-off of, say, the battery business, or a spin-off of the autonomous vehicle business, or even debt markets with green bonds? What kind of tools are at your disposal now?
Well, look, we did one of the first green bonds in our industry. It went really well. Why? Because we tied it to actual green energy vehicles, zero emission investments in our plants and the vehicles, and boy, did the market respond. We really like that direction, probably go deeper. The other one, you know, that's available to us, of course, is the AV spending. It's very expensive for level 4 autonomy. We want to access the capital markets there because over time we think that'll be a key technology, but it's going to take longer than we thought. So we do want to access the capital markets. On our core automotive operations, we can fund it ourselves. We want to put that pressure on ourselves. We don't want to give ownership in the business. We want people who invest in Ford Motor Company to get that upside opportunity. And, you know, we really have to become more profitable in our core automotive operations. And the spin-off is a problem for us because there's so much interdependency between the ICE and the BEV business. And when you spin something off, you lose that capability. Any startup, Tesla, Rivian, NIO, they would love to have our industrial system, our body engineering, chassis engineering, manufacturing operations. If I spin the EV business off, I don't have access to that. That connection becomes loose and concerning. Don't want to do it.
I guess, Jim, my question is, how do you earmark the funds for the EV business, right? Is this a case where, as Bloomberg reported, you go to the bankers and the capital markets and you use some kind of mechanism to raise money specifically for the EV arm?
Well, look, green bonds have helped us a lot. And that's part of the formula. But the funding for that $50 billion, like the $5 billion we're spending today, up almost twice from last year, it's all based on our core automotive operations. And that's why we created a separate group called Ford Blue, because we need them to be more profitable to fund this inside the company.
Jim, you gave a lot of fighting talk in the news conference this morning. The goal seems to be number one in EVs. How does this plan, how does today's announcement get you there? Not just beating out GM, but also Tesla.
Well, we have the opportunity to do that, but the execution is on us, and our deeds will mark our progress. But I have to tell you, I am so excited about the talent we're getting, like Doug Fields from the technology industry. We have so many people coming to Ford who want Ford to win. We're the number one employer in the U.S. on automotive industry, and they take a lot of pride in the success of the company. This focus of having a dedicated team for inverters and batteries and power electronics and the platforms themselves and all the technology like the embedded electrical systems, we will create the talent, and they'll have a mission statement that'll be just as compelling as our competitors like Tesla. They have a great start, and I'm so humbled by their excellence. But it's time for Ford to focus and to catch up and pass them.
Jim, the message seems to be on the legacy ICE business that this is going to become a lean, mean profit machine. Are job cuts at the gas engine business a part of that?
Everything's on the table. Absolutely everything. But the real big drivers for us aren't necessarily all that headcount. It's going to be quality. We're behind in quality in terms of our costs. There alone is a big chunk of it. We have uncompetitive, advertising spend and marketing spend. That's a great opportunity for us. Every part of the income statement is going to yield that kind of lean, mean business. Yes, we'll have to restructure. Yes, we'll have to shift our skills from skills that aren't as useful to skills that are more useful, even in the ICE business. And that's exactly our plan. In fact, we committed today to take out $3 billion in the next couple of years.
Mach-E, Lightning, Transit. What's the next electrified model for Ford under this plan?
What a great question. I will tell you, it'll be the vehicle we make in Tennessee. It won't be one of those three, and it won't look or feel or experience anything like a traditional product that people think of from Ford. That's all I could say. It's going to be an exciting product.
Come on, Jim. Is it an SUV?
That no one else could have.
It's an SUV, Jim, is it?
We'll have plenty of SUVs. But what really makes Ford different is our pickup trucks. So watch this space, but be prepared to be surprised. We got 200,000 orders already on the Lightning, and that's a multi-energy platform. When we go all electric and really do something special for an optimized all electric pickup truck, watch this space. We have lots of plans, and I can't wait to show everyone what our new products look like. The first generation products, they're doing great. We're number one in all those segments, but we're not going to stop there.
Right. Jim, a fantastic day for Ford and Ford's future, but obviously a very tough situation in Ukraine, and Ford announced last night you're halting operations in Russia. Could you just share with me your feelings on that today?
Well, like everyone, it's devastating to watch the TV, to see the cruelty, all the refugees in the millions now. Ford Fund is going to support the refugees as we always do. That humanitarian effort. We're showing solidarity because we have a lot of Ukrainian employees. We're flying their flag in front of the corporate headquarters. But most of all, we're suspending operations, like you said. We've been winding down our Russian operations for a while. Never was very profitable. We made vehicles locally like Focus. We don't do that anymore. We have a transit business. We're going to suspend it, not on business, but on principle. That's what Ford is. And, watch the space.
And Jim, very finally, is there ongoing supply chain disruption or price pressures directly stemming from the Ukraine-Russia situation?
Hard to isolate it right now. It's early days, but absolutely supply chain, but especially commodity prices. We were hit by almost $3 billion last year. All the car companies were. We're seeing more and more headwinds, especially from the commodities that are linked to Russia, like aluminum. Aluminum has a lot of energy density in it, but also I think about 15% of the global aluminum comes from Russia. So we'll see pressures on our business, like everyone does, and pricing. That's why we have to get our business lean.